Did it do it? Oh, I am. Oh, I forgot to hit the little thing. It's fine. We don't need formalities around here. We can just rock and roll. Hey, everybody! Spooky Dudes is back again. I'm being forced to resurrect the show now for the third or fourth time. I don't. Who knows? You can't kill a good horror podcast. But have a return guest who I'm just a big fan of as a human, but also a wonderful filmmaker. Dylan A. Young is here. Dylan, what's up, my dude?
How's it going? Thanks for having me on again.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Stoked to have you on here. And Dylan has been very supportive of my endeavors, which is this show, but also FrankenCon. Like, you've been all 3 years.
Yeah, I've had a film play in the festival 3 years.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hold on, don't say it. I mean, year 3, obviously. Sorry for the mess. Yep. Year 2, The Kids' Revenge.
Yep.
Year 1, I can enact the whole story in my head.
It also has the word sorry in it.
Oh, man.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, better safe than sorry.
You weren't in charge of the film festival year 1.
I was not. And that's sort of turned into like my favorite. I mean, I love the whole thing. I love our whole experience. We were just talking about this, but yeah, the film fest has really got a special place in my heart, dude.
Yeah, it's a bit more personal than some of the other stuff you go through, probably.
Oh yeah, and you guys and gals, everybody who submits films are all so easy to work with. There's no, it's just a community thing. Everybody has fun. I mean, we get in that room and turn the lights out and turn the speakers up, and everybody gets a beer or, I don't know, Hot Pocket, whatever you're into, and we just laugh and scream at these movies, and it's just,
oh yeah,
it's a good time.
Oh yeah, for sure. I wouldn't keep submitting if it wasn't a good time.
See, we're doing something right. We got to learn how to make money, but we're doing something right.
That goes for all of us.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. That's, the struggle is real there.
Oh.
All right. I am going to quickly share this on Facebook so we can get a couple people. And so Dylan, the newest thing, sorry for the mess. By the way, absolutely the most, probably the most emotional entry this year. Definitely the most, like, I think my comment after we watched it, and I had seen it already, right? Because we had judged it. I said, Jesus, Dylan, that was my commentary, because it's so sober.
Yeah.
Sobering, it's very, it's tough. It's a tough subject. Like, someone's opening doors behind me. I don't know who. That's the bad part about having the camera this close, is I can't see. It's not like a rear view mirror. But yeah, let's talk about that one first, since that's the newest thing, right?
It's no, it's not necessarily the newest thing. It's what's like playing film festivals right now. I've done maybe 3 projects since then that I was like either a producer or director on, and only one of those is out, but we can get to those later. But yeah, sorry for the mess. What would you like to know?
I mean, why?
Yeah. So when I was younger, there was a Stephen King short story that inspired me to want to adapt it one day. And eventually I wrote a similar story script that got rewrote and changed and rewrote and changed and rewrote again. And now it's something very different, what we ended up with, but really happy with it. Really glad that it went in the direction that it did. And it's quite a bit different from what I had originally been writing. It's just something that was, kind of personal to me, but I feel like it's kind of universal too. Everybody like struggles a little bit in life, and It was just important. The message was important, and it seemed like something that would just be maybe impactful to some people. And I hope people might kind of get like a cathartic experience out of it.
No, absolutely. It is well made. Um it's great. I mean, it's really good, but it's also got this like, I've been doing film fest stuff now for 3 years.
Okay.
And I wasn't over the first year, but I definitely watched everything, right? Like
Right.
I it you don't always get entries that do that to you. Like it's a lot of like light um funnier stuff, or it's like schlocky or gory. There's a lot, we see a lot of that kind of stuff.
Right.
But so when we got together, the judges panel, we actually got together in person and watched everything. And oh, excuse me,
No worries.
I'm gonna
I'm curious to hear about the first watch with the boys.
so it was the first thing we watched,
Mhm.
and it was like, everybody's sitting there like, you
Sure.
can't show this first. Like you have to sort of ease into it, and you have to have something kind of bring people a little back up
Yeah.
after. And so when I decided the order for everything that made the cut, I was very specific about when that one played, just because it is important, it is impactful, it is a good message, but also you don't want you don't want the tone of it to hurt, to kind of mess with the rest of the flow.
Yeah, for sure.
And I didn't want it at the end, because
Right.
I didn't want to like, thanks for coming, guys. Here's the trophies. Have a great night. And everybody's sitting there like, because it's that it, it
It's
does what it's supposed to do.
yeah. Thank you.
No, it's great. Who's the guy? The dude in it is the same one that played
The
the
kid.
kid,
Yeah.
and he is awesome. You need to keep him around.
Oh, absolutely. I actually just helped him back in, I think February it was, on a short film of his. I went down to Nashville for a couple of weeks and helped him out. Close circle on him for sure.
That's good. That's good. And that's how the community feels too, man. Like
Absolutely.
everybody's it's I'm not gonna I'm gonna use a term, and it's gonna sound negative, but it is very incestuous.
Well, I think you might have brought this up previously because you had noticed that I was in Dixie's short film that played last year. And I was like, I was. And I ran sound and I helped with the lighting. And, it's like, yeah, it's people meet each other pretty easily through the filmmaking communities in the region. A lot of that is like due to Facebook for real.
Yeah. I think that was the first, well, it wasn't the first thing I saw that you had worked on for sure, but I recognized you. I was like, that looks like Dylan.
You're like, wait, he acts?
Speaking of the devil, well, okay. Posey's in here trolling. Flo Rida. What? I don't know. And then let's see. Dixie's here. Hi, Dixie. I said I knew she would show up. Everyone felt it. That is absolutely true. It was heavy, man. And it's not every movie is going to be a fun blast to watch. Right? We have had lots of very challenging movies. Some of the best movies are challenging.
Yeah.
And I think I keep saying this to people when I talk about you. I brag about you, okay? I brag about a lot of our filmmakers, but like you have whenever you submit something, you wouldn't even have to put your name on it, and I would know. Like seriously. Like at this point I would just say that, and it doesn't have to be because that same guy's in everything.
Right.
I would just say, just stylistically, I'd be like, that's Dylan's movie. And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
So, hold on. Which Posey says, which film are we talking about? Did you watch the movies? Oh yeah, you did. You guys came in the room. Sorry for the mess. The one with the, I guess we have to say it this way on social media. The gentleman unalives himself, but is then, or I guess he pictures it, and then I'm not to spoil this. This is a short film, people. It's very quick. It has a happy ending, but it also becomes kind of a PSA about something very important, which is unaliving. I don't know why we have to use these stupid terms, by the way.
You don't want to get flagged.
Dude, I don't know how to like get flagged for the
Right.
stuff in the first place. Like,
it's interesting trying to like make and promote material about something that's such a sensitive topic that you can't even talk about it on social media.
Right. I mean, we can. Never mind, Brandon. Dixie says Dylan's work is phenomenal, better and better every time. We're just gonna get people in here just pumping up your ego. That's what this was all about. Is it your birthday today?
It's so sweet. I actually work really hard to make sure everything's better than the last thing I made,
and everything's different. You know, you're gonna do the Tarantino thing. You're gonna have your Western, and your martial arts film, and
I want to do a martial arts film. I want to do a biker film real bad.
It was not. It was kind of in the middle.
Yeah, middle, first half.
I can actually tell you exactly. I still have the
lineup sheet.
Yeah. It played before the first penis film. That is true. Franken Film Fest also notoriously full of teens. It was right before. It was the third one. You guys might not have been in the room yet. It was third. It was right between Vegetable Tail, which was this crazy, trippy vegetable. Stephen Michaud.
It was funny.
It was funny. And then Sorry for the Mess. And then Peeping Patty from Dixie. So, yeah, I guess I did kind of throw those in an order that kind of confuses the senses. I don't know the rest of this time. Well, yeah, obviously, like, it was great and important and very different. That was one thing about this year's film fest. In spite of, we had 3 movies that featured male genitalia predominantly as part of the plot, but everything was so different.
Yeah,
like it, that's one thing that like I'm stoked about, is that we get such different takes of these films from the festivals. And I had to cut people this year.
Yeah,
I had to cut like 5 films out, which sucks. I don't want to do that.
Right.
We had a run time. So, okay. Well, let's talk about what's upcoming. You said you got some new stuff kind of coming down.
Yeah. So when you mentioned that about me acting in Dixie Short, it reminded me I acted in a couple of horror features over the last couple years, and both of them are supposed to be coming out around October time. I don't know how much I can say about either of them, but one of them is set on Halloween, and in both of them, I play a slasher villain. So that should be pretty fun. I'm looking forward to those coming out. And then like the big thing that I've been kind of putting together lately is called Camp Laughter. And it's like a proof of concept short film that I'm going to be putting together. That's essentially just like the intro to a feature film. And I'm going to be doing a slasher. And it's kind of like a 80s set satirical fun slasher film. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've been having a bunch of like pre-production art made up for different things, like the camp's design and the poster and stuff like that. And I'll be launching an Indiegogo here before too long. So really excited about that.
That's awesome, man. We actually have a question from some guy, Richard Yule, some convention promoter, podcaster guy. Out of all your shorts, which one would you like to turn into a full-length feature? I can answer that.
All
for
right.
me.
That takes a little bit of thinking. Let's see. The Kid's Revenge.
Yeah, I mean that's.
But like, will I ever have enough money to make that into a feature film? That it was expensive, 2.5 minutes.
Well, I was gonna say, is that taboo? Can we talk about the financing for a short film? Is that, or
No,
is
we can
that
talk
like,
about it. Yeah. So it was made for a contest. So it's a fake movie trailer. It's a Western, made for the Knoxville Horror Film Festival Grindhouse Grind Out.
yep,
And it was like they give you 2 weeks to make a trailer for a fake Western film is the genre that I got. So I had just worked back to back music festivals. And I worked for a hot dog company selling hot dogs for tips and made $2,000 over those 2 weekends. And
hey Richard, did you hear that?
that was my whole budget.
We need to start selling hot dogs, my dude.
Yeah.
Frankenfurters. There you go.
So basically, it was the location was $600, food was $400, and props and costumes was $1,000. So
Okay.
I tried to keep my expenses to a bare minimum, but also make something that looked way more expensive than it was.
I mean, that's the thing, dude. Yeah, I can't just keep going back to the same well, but it's out there for people to watch, right? Like it's on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it's on YouTube, it's on Vimeo, and it's like definitely the most expensive thing that I've made. And like usually the rule of thumb with my movies is I've always just funded them, and when I leave the end of production, I don't have any more money and have to figure it out from there. It's just I spend what I've got to make what I can.
And then hopefully it gets in festivals and it gets in. I mean, what gets your name out there? It's kind of like a business card, right? Like it's,
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and
know,
it's like when somebody checks it out and they see something they like, then they care to follow you and pay attention to what you're making in the future. But yeah, that was fun. And then it's like my most recent thing. I just did a project here recently called The Fool. It's a 1 minute short film. Cost me about $100 to make it, and so it's like that's the whole other end of the spectrum. But it's also out on my Vimeo and on YouTube. I made it for a Nashville film showcase for a 1 minute film. So it's my first like non-horror thing. Like it's something that I still find kind of scary topically, but it's more just like a straight drama, like a 1 minute little emotional thing. So it's
that's
a
cool.
it's a fun little bit. Check it out if you got a minute.
Is there an easy place while I'm thinking about it, is there an easy place for people to just get to all your stuff?
Yeah, yeah. If you follow the information below here, it'll say there's like about to show up over here, right
There
here.
it is.
If you follow my Instagram right there, it's going to have in my bio my link tree, and that's got like everything that you could want. It's got my merch company, Video Nasties, if you want to get some classic horror films t-shirts. It's got my new endeavor, the Genre Film Club. I've been hosting events in the Louisville, Kentucky area. We have Biker Film Night coming out on June 18th. Come on out. I'm showing biker movies, music videos, local short films. Should be a blast. But yeah, anything you want, my films, ways to reach me, whatever, it's all there.
And you're near Dixie, right? Like you guys are up in.
I'm in Louisville, Kentucky.
Right.
Dixie is in the Nashville area.
What?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought she was in like Indianapolis or something. Or
I'm pretty sure she just hangs in Louisville a bunch. And I see
Oh.
your comment there, Dixie. The actor in The Fool is really good. I agree. He's also a super good director, and his 48-hour film festival project is going to Cannes, France, as one of the 15 in the world, the top 15 in the world. And super talented actor. If you want to see more of his acting, check out Bigfoot Trap. I think it's on Paramount Plus, and it should be on Tubi as well. Bigfoot Trap rocks. My buddy Aaron Murtis made it, and I ran sound, and it was a great time.
That sounds rad.
Check it out. It is rad.
Let's call attention to indie film people too. Like you guys all travel down to Alcoa or Knoxville
Knoxville.
and hang out with us. You guys travel to, like I know Dixie travels up to Scarefest
Yep.
in Lexington.
Yep.
You guys are all over the place.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
People do stuff with trauma. I mean,
Yeah, I've been traveling around quite a bit this year. I did the weekend before FrankenCon. I was up in Chicago for the Chicago Horror Film Festival. That was a blast.
well, what is the best? Like, what is your favorite film festival you've entered?
Entered or gotten into?
Oh, gotten into, I guess.
Knoxville Horror Film Festival.
Yeah, they're good people.
Yeah.
I love them. We do a lot of stuff with Central.
Yeah.
With William.
Oh,
I have my birthday there.
cool.
I had my birthday there last year when I turned 42, and we watched The Last Dragon.
Nice.
And it was the best birthday I've ever had in my life. So I was like, this year I'm booking the theater again. I've narrowed it down to 4 movies.
That's awesome. What do you got?
Well, I'll keep in mind I have kids. Like I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old. So
fully understood.
And our family friends are, with children as well. So I don't want to I'm not going to be like Cannibal Holocaust, bring the kids.
Fun movies.
So the only one that's rated R that I've been thinking about, Bloodsport, because I love that movie.
Okay. Classic.
Best of the Best, which is PG-13.
Okay.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Classic. I saw that at Central Cinema.
Yeah, it's fun, and I think that's the kind of movie that people, not everybody I hang out with is a cinephile.
Yeah, not everybody wants to watch a scary movie either.
Right. And then the last one, Monster Squad, because that was a big part of my childhood. I don't think it's a great movie, but it's a big part of my childhood.
Yeah, I saw that at the Maryville Drive-In.
See, I haven't been there either. I do all this stuff with Richard in Maryville because that's where he lives. But
yeah, you got to go there. It's so cool. I went for the last 2 Knoxville Horror Film Festivals, which I just submitted the full to Knoxville Horror Film Festival recently, and I already got tickets. Or not tickets. I got my hotel booked, so I'm going this year too.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to do some of this stuff. The people that work with us, especially, I want to. You want to support.
Yeah, and even if you go to the whole festival, you can get a ticket to the drive-in only, or if they go to the Bijou Theater only, and just do a night or 2 nights.
My buddy Carl. Hey, Carl. Hope you're well, man. Big Trouble in Little China is a great one that kids can also watch. That is the idea.
Oh, yeah.
Last Dragon has some stuff in it that, there's a couple of N-bombs that I wouldn't suggest anyone say, but I forgot that was in the movie. But the movie's so goofy, and everybody had a good time at that one. So I want to keep that kind of vibe. I don't want it to be something that brings people down. So we'll work that out by November. My birthday's in November, so we got to get through Halloween.
Right.
Oh, that's why Richard said Scarefest is the same weekend as Knoxville Horror Film Festival.
Scarefest is right next to me, and it's a bummer, but I love Knoxville Horror Film Festival so much. I drive all the way down for it.
Well, I think Richard might do. I think we may do the divide and conquer thing this year, and I may go up to Lexington again, and then he'll do the KHFF.
That's it.
But yeah, I love those guys though. Video Nasties is the website if you guys want to get some really cool shirts. I am looking at it right now. I may have to order some shirts myself.
Hell yeah.
I'm a big fan of t-shirts. I wear them frequently.
Same.
Oh, hold on. We've got another cool question. This one comes in from Twitch. Thank you for watching on Twitch. This one's from GZDR4EV. Dylan, you got another pronunciation of that I'm missing out on?
No. That's just a good old original username right there.
Question is, are there innovative ways to make movie blood and guts as a practical effect instead of CGI?
So I could kind of take this question in a couple of ways, so I'll kind of approach it in a couple of ways too. innovative ways to make movie blood and guts. So like, if we're talking about like how to create like blood and guts stuff, I would suggest what is it? Squib. I'm drawing a blank here. There is a air pressurized squib rig company that has their own blood recipe online.
Oh wow, they're just giving away industry secrets right there on the site.
Yeah, here I'm pulling it up right now. It's squibfx.com, and you can go into their information. They've got like a whole tutorial on their YouTube on how to make their blood, and it's really, really nice. Highly recommend using that. And they also just sell really nice air pressurized squib rigs if you need to do like bullet blasts. The Kid's Revenge is full of me using one of their squibs.
10% off.
And then like another way that I could maybe approach that question is like an innovative way to get you just kind of do effect stuff on set that like people don't think about. I'll say two things. One, if you're doing like bullet blasts or like people getting hit and they need to like spray blood, there's kind of two ways that I like to approach it. If you're seeing them get shot, you can fill a water balloon up with blood and you can throw it at the person and then cut to the shot of that person right after the water balloon blows up. So it's just blood spraying everywhere. And it helps if you have a red balloon, but it works either way. And another thing that people don't consider is if you're on the other side of it and you're just seeing where the like blood is being sprayed, a bug sprayer. One of those just like to spray your yard, pressurized pump. You'll have to cut the blood normally with some water. So, you know, some people say like half and half. It just kind of depends. And then I'll throw in another little tip I've learned. If you're doing stuff on a white shirt, if you throw a little bit of green food coloring into the mix of the blood, you won't have the blood showing up pink on their shirt anymore. So there's a few things might help somebody.
I see the Kurosawa.
Yeah, that's their continuous spray rig where you hold the button and it keeps going. Yeah, so they've got two Kurosawa wigs on that guy right there. That was for a production of Sweeney Todd they helped on.
That is awesome, dude.
Yeah, so I've just got their standard one. They've got a bigger size of the standard one called the Tarantino, I believe. But yeah, good products. And it's like if you see they've got the remote control trigger there, so like I don't have to be next to the actor. I can press the little button off the side and then it pops for me, you know.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, those things are cool. It's like they're expensive, but it's a good investment. I can't tell you. I mean, I've been on movies where I'm just the sound guy and they're about to do something and they have no idea what to do for it. And I'm like, well, I've got this in my backpack if you all need it. I mean, hell, that Bigfoot trap movie I mentioned earlier, I do a squib rig in one or two of those shots in that movie.
That's awesome, dude. Squibfx.com. If you guys are interested in checking it out. Not sponsored, by the way. So
yeah, and their YouTube channel should have their blood recipe on it.
Sweet. Well, thank you for the question. That's a great question. Keep those
sure.
keep those coming. Less stuff I have to think of if see, I went back and watched our original interview or part of it. Because I wanted to make sure I'd been through the original question bank with you, and I did. Right. We exhausted those questions. There's always new ones, but
right.
I didn't want to just blast you with the same ones again.
Yeah.
Y'all post stuff in the chat, and we'll get to those later. Dixie says, "Bug sprayer for the win."
Oh yeah,
dude. You know, DIY, whatever the level of technology is, I think it's just awesome that people are doing this stuff, period.
For sure. It's like there's the best way to approach something on every budget level, you know, and you just got to figure out what it is.
Yeah. Operate within your means.
100%.
I should learn to do this. Yes. Well, let's get into some other stuff, Dylan. I mean, I know you're a huge film buff. Your physical media collection is insane. You're constantly trying to sell the stuff you've already watched and you know, because I think you and I run in a lot of the same Facebook groups.
I believe that.
Because I'll see, oh, Dylan's got some more movies for sale. What's he got?
Dylan's selling hundreds of movies on Facebook.
I mean, that's the physical media thing. I mean, we're a niche community. I mean, I don't think I don't want to feel comfortable to say it's dying, because I don't think it's any less than when I started actually buying this physical stuff. Like,
Yeah, it's just changing a lot. It's like it is dying in terms of accessibility. You can't buy movies at Best Buy anymore. It's like we got like Walmart and Target and Amazon, and then like the small people like Orbit DVD, Diabolic DVD, and like Grindhouse Video and stuff like those. Like, yeah, it's like we're definitely seeing a trend of major studios not wanting to put out physical media anymore and not bother with it because they're raking in all of the streaming profits. But these boutique labels are growing and growing. I mean, look at Vinegar Syndrome. This month, they dropped 20 partner label releases, not a single one of their own, but like there's so many other companies that are like within them and their umbrella. There's so much stuff coming out. I can't buy 20 movies a month that are that nice. You know what I mean? So it's like for the collectors, I feel like we're doing good as ever.
Yeah, I think Vinegar Syndrome is. I think they have a really interesting business model.
Yes.
Because when I first got into them, I'm trying to think. I'll think of the dude's name later.
Yeah.
James, their roadshow guy, the guy selling their movies at convention tables.
I met him at a Horror Hound convention.
Yep. I mean, nice guy.
Yeah.
I would just go up to the table and look at these crazy movies, and I'm like, are these porn? Are these, what are these? And the answer to some of that is yes.
Occasionally.
But I would ask him, what's the craziest thing on your table?
Right.
And he would tell me legit. The first thing I ever bought from them was Raw Force.
Yeah, that movie's wild.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Like I bought it, took it home from Atlanta and popped that in and thought, this is for me, dude. I need to keep digging down this rabbit hole.
So entertaining. Such a crazy movie.
But back then, like when I first got into them, they had porn and exploitation. That was it.
Now it's everything.
I mean, now they got like Beastmaster, Hell Comes to Frogtown, like these major studio releases that nobody wants to touch.
Yeah.
With them.
Yeah, their entire business model has completely changed over the last few years.
But to your point earlier, it's like they balance that out with this, the partner label stuff, helping out these smaller companies, Saturn's Core,
art house movies, digitally shot movies, modern movies. It's like they're doing all these shot on video movies. It's like there's so much stuff now, and it's like with this trend going this way, it's like eventually like everybody's just going to be a partner label, and you know what I mean? It's like these boutique labels are just growing and building and building. It's wild.
I mean, it's cool. I think it's healthy for the the community, as long as you can say I did get a little frustrated with the boutique labels, because when I first got into this stuff, let's say Black Friday sale, Vinegar Syndrome Black Friday sale, Severin Black Friday sale, it was like wall to wall $5 and $10 Blu-rays. That really doesn't happen anymore. Like, but it's not sustainable either.
No,
you can't give the things away for free and stay in business.
That's how they built their audience, and now they do what's best.
Yeah. I do appreciate when they're like, we're going to liquidate all the DVDs. Right. And they're just like, these are $3 each. I'll buy a stack of everything. And I'm just like, why do you need, Vampiros Lesbos on deluxe Blu-ray and DVD?
But it was $3.
$3. It's like that. What's that thrift shop song? It was 25 cents.
Right. Yeah. It was just the deal.
Yeah, I got that. I told my wife I have that thing where, like, if you go to a store and you look through the clearance section and you see something and you think about it, and you're like, man, that's such a good deal. It's like 75% off. I'll think about that all day.
Oh yeah.
And like punish myself for not buying it. Like find a way to like justify going back to buy it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we talked about your favorite festival, which Knoxville Horror Film Festival. Shout out to our buddies there.
Oh yeah, can't wait.
What what is what is something you've seen lately? And it could be indie, it could be mainstream, whatever. What's something you've seen lately that you found to be really cool?
So the thing that like just first comes to mind is Angst. Have you heard of Angst?
Is it a German movie?
Yeah.
I have heard of it. I haven't seen it.
So I recently revisited this film because there's a film that just came out called In a Violent Nature. Are you familiar with that?
I am familiar with many polarizing opinions about, or that movie's very polarizing. People love it or hate it.
Polarizing movie. So the whole thing is they're marketing it as the whole film is from the perspective of the killer. It's not. Whether you like the movie or not, that's just not true.
That
But
would be hard to do.
it is hard to do, but it's been done before. And so Maniac remake with Elijah Wood. Maybe you've seen that one.
I have seen that one.
It's been a minute since I've seen the original Maniac. It might also all be from Frank Zito's character's perspective.
When you say perspective, do you mean the camera is his eyes, or do you mean like he's the main focus?
So the Maniac remake, it is all his POV, but just from his perspective, like the story's told through his eyes, but like his lens, it's like we're always following the killer. And it's about what's happening with the killer. But this was done in this old film Angst, and it's just a crazy movie, and I wanted to revisit it because of all the hype that I've been seeing about In a Violent Nature. And on a revisit, yeah, it's just it just holds up. It's like the dude just gets released from prison after a 10-year stint for having unalived his mom. And it's like as soon as he steps out of the prison, it's just the whole movie's like his thoughts in his head being spoken as a voiceover, similar to like Sorry for the Mess, but he's just like not okay in the head. And it's just like his first thing is like, all right, I gotta go find people, and it's just like that's just the whole movie, and it's pretty wild.
It is. If anybody's interested in watching it, it is on Tubi, which
For free. That's where I watched it.
One of our favorite streaming services, and somehow has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It has 5 critical reviews that are 100%. The audience score is 73% with 500 plus ratings. So I wouldn't believe any movie would have, like that. You can say what you want to about Rotten Tomatoes, but like 100% is not. It doesn't feel
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we got another question. Then we can hop back into this kind of stuff from our friend G. I'm just going to call you G. From our friend G. Question for Dylan. As a writer, he is a gatekeeper for telling the stories of marginalized people. When he sits down and writes a script, how important is it to make sure you have a diverse cast?
Oh, that's really interesting. So this is actually a pretty good segue for me to talk about another project. But first, I'll just kind of try to answer this. So it's like I have written stories about marginalized people. I've written stories about issues that women face. I think this is something where it's like every story will benefit from a different level of diversity within its cast. I feel like the cast's diversity should be reflective of the intentions of the film, the message of the film, etc. And if it's something where you're just making something silly or fun and there's not a lot of meaning and intention behind it and it's just to be fun and silly, it's like diversity is always a plus, and when it's able to happen, cool. It's not something that I try to just like force, and it's not something that like I try to like really make an effort out of as I'm writing. It's something that more so just kind of happens naturally when it's supposed to. But as far as diversity is concerned, I've been working on a project that is almost done that I'm really excited about. It is about a Black family, and it is a family crime drama that I produced, AD'd, and edited. It is DeAndre Teagle's directorial debut. He's an actor that I've worked with a lot. And it is a proof of concept short film for a feature. It is essentially just like the first like 7 or so minutes of the feature. And it features a young Marcus Turner who is on his way to a wrestling tournament, and he is looking to be an Olympic wrestler and wants to one day compete in the UFC. But some things happen one night after a meet that kind of changed the entire trajectory of his life, setting us up for a feature about an adult Marcus. And the impactful events of the beginning of the film is essentially like the climax of the short film itself. And it was just like pretty obvious immediately that we would have a predominantly black cast for the film, and it was really cool being able to work with people I'd worked with before and some I hadn't. And yeah, it was a good experience. We shot that one right around the same time, back to back with Similar Suspects, which is another fake movie trailer that I made that is similar to The Kid's Revenge because it was for that same contest. But that is like a detective mystery thriller thing, and that's going to be coming out in the next few weeks.
Exciting.
And as far as like Split Blood is the name of the other short film I was talking about, that will be getting submitted to festivals within the next couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens with that one in the long run.
Good question, G. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in terms of, like, I don't really want to talk about my day job much because I don't think it's that exciting for everybody. But one of the things we talk about a lot at work is diversity.
Yeah.
And that could be, I mean, it's going to increase the strength of whatever you're doing, right? And that could be, it doesn't necessarily have to be a race thing or gender thing, but I mean, diversity of thought. We all come from different backgrounds, different experience levels, different everything, right? Different origins. And I think if you really lean into those things, that's when magic happens. That's when you're going to come up with your best ideas, your best collaborations. So,
and opportunity is important. Like the first film that I worked crew on was called Death Ranch, and it's essentially like a blaxploitation throwback thriller kind of film. Just hearing some of the cast members talk about like the opportunities that they're given versus some of the opportunities they see other people getting, or just what auditions they have available for them just being minuscule. It's just it's disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's as a white dude,
right?
I feel like from what I've seen, I mean, the communities that I run in, I feel like things have definitely improved.
Right.
I have a lot of friends and contacts in the LGBTQ plus community.
Right.
I didn't really in high school. I knew one gay dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, people of color. I have a lot of friends that I work with that are people of color, people I hang out with, go to cons with. I think there's a good mixture of people, especially like at FrankenCon. I think we have a pretty good mix of people. Yeah. I wish we could bring in more.
It's nice seeing general acceptance.
Yeah, and that's that kind of community accepts everybody. I think we do skew super heavily male.
Right.
I don't know how to appeal to more. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a customer choice thing. We're definitely not like trying to be exclusionary at all.
Right.
But that some of that kind of stuff kind of is what it is. But definitely people should get opportunities to do these things, especially in film. Like it's important. It's like when Black Panther came out.
Yeah.
People were
freaking out,
pissing and moaning because it's woke and all this. And think about a little black kid watching superhero movies and all they see is Superman and Batman and I love Daredevil, but that kid needs to see people that look like him too.
Right. Well, right? I mean, think of the 30, 40-year-olds that never had that opportunity and that they got the same experience as that kid did, Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we're,
halfway through your life and don't need the inspiration as much.
we're evolving. We're
Yeah,
constantly evolving.
for
We're
sure.
trying to do better. Carl, my buddy Carl says diversity is best and easiest when it grows organically. And not every genre appeals to all groups equally, but often there are so many untapped markets. No, for sure.
Right. There's always opportunity for whatever.
Yeah. I mean, we had one of the tropes of slasher movies that has been used mostly for comedic effect, I think, in films that are like sort of self-aware.
Right.
But like they were always like the person of color is going to get killed by the slasher guy first, right?
Right.
And then you fast forward to 2023 Thanksgiving, Scuba is one of the only survivors, like it's there's there we're definitely doing things differently now, and I'm sure a lot of this like good old boy club mentality still exists out there, but
Oh yeah, because the main thing right now is the issues with marketing. If you pay attention to movies that have black characters, see how often they're on the poster, and I'll just leave it at that. Because a lot, and it's more of an issue outside of the U.S. So if you look at the alternate posters for foreign countries,
yeah,
I won't say which one specifically, but yeah,
we may need to chat offline. I need to look into this because that's interesting.
yeah, I can tell you about stuff I've worked on myself.
Okay. Hey, let me make a plea for a second. Leave people off of the posters. Scream, I love Scream, but that movie straight up turned the movie poster market into absolute garbage for I don't know how long. I want a painted portrait of something cool. I don't want just like a black background with like pretty people's faces.
Right.
That's the most boring
Right. Just face collage.
Blah.
And
I get it.
is because of marketing and because they're like, oh, well, if they see the actor's face, they'll buy the movie.
It's got Nev Campbell in it.
Yep.
Okay.
100%.
They didn't put her on that one Scream movie because she's not in it.
Right.
I still haven't seen 6. That's 6, right? I haven't seen it.
So yeah, she's not in 6. Is she in 5?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I watched that one.
I've seen those.
I watched that like a month or two ago.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so angst, I bet they want you to say angst. I'm sure because it's German, right? That does not sound like a fun movie. I'm gonna watch it though because I've heard things about it. And your recommendation, if you guys don't follow Dylan on socials or on Letterboxd, he watches everything and he'll post about it. If you need an idea of like something to watch on a Friday night, he's the guy to follow.
And angst is not a fun watch. It's very just like weird and uncomfortable throughout.
Okay, I'm down. Yeah. How does it compare to Necromantic?
Okay, it is not nearly as visually graphic as Necromantic. It's more so like the psychological, like we're hearing him narrating what he's doing and like his plan for killing these people, and like it's just disturbing. And there is some graphic violence, but like not comparable to Necromantic as far as content is concerned.
Okay.
And Necromantic made me much queasier.
I could see that.
Yeah.
That's a shock movie. I mean, that's just
it is. Yeah.
It's right there with a Serbian film and Martyrs, and I get that people are shocked by Cannibal Holocaust, but at this point I feel like the film's reached such a cult level that I don't want to see animals killed any more than the next guy, but like it's a good movie, and it is messed up. But
a lot of the reason that it built the kind of like name for itself that it did is just because they thought that it was real. It's like, in the movie he goes and he finds those film reels, and then they go and they watch them back in like New York, I think it is, and like
I think so.
they thought they were real. Like they had to go to court and like reproduce some of the special effects and stuff. Like they had to have that lady prove that they impaled her on a pole and that she wasn't actually dead. And like, you know, he had paid the actors to go into hiding for a year to try to act like it was real. And, you know, it's like, I think that's why it's so infamous and that's why it's like so shocking, you know. I think over the years, it's like, well, the movie itself, you know, it's messed up, but, you know, I think it stood the test of time more so because of it being a quality film than just because of how shocking it is.
Well, there's throughout the years of cinema,
Yeah.
there have been sort of movies and filmmakers that have kind of mastered the art of marketing mixed with quality
100%.
of product, right? Um, like William Castle.
Yeah.
Um,
Herschel Gordon Lewis.
absolutely. I'm a big fan. Maybe not the most progressive film on the block, but 2000 Maniacs is one of my favorite movies.
It's so good. Yeah.
I love that movie.
Just it's a ghost town. Come on, like that is the coolest movie. Like it's crazy. The remake not as good. Still fun, and it has some cool actors in it and stuff. But yeah, that original movie is wild, and I've had it since like the Arrow box set came out, and I don't know if you know, but they've discovered the original camera negative of that film since then, and I'm waiting for them to do another release of it because the negative or the print that they had scanned for that doesn't look that great. So to be able to see that with much more clarity would be cool.
What?
In fact, you know, She Devils on Wheels, that Herschel Gordon Lewis movie.
Yeah.
At the end of that production, like pretty much every lady in that movie had to shave her hair off because it was all like stained from the blood. And that movie was like why he pushed people in Hollywood to develop blood that wouldn't stain. So like we got a whole new blood recipe because of Herschel and because of She Devils on Wheels.
I did not know that. That's cool though.
Fun bit of info, but yeah.
So okay, so on that topic, I thought of something else. So what? There's a movie that came out not too long ago, made a huge stir.
Okay.
I watched it after the fact, which is always dangerous, right? Like when people walk around and say scariest movie of all time, or they say bloodiest movie of all time, or people are puking in the aisles, you can probably start to guess what movie I'm talking about.
I've got 3 in mind.
Take a stab. Keep in mind, I haven't seen this new movie.
You haven't seen In a Violent Nature.
Right.
How new this is, and okay, people throwing up in the aisles. It's not okay. This is something that's newer than Terrifier 2.
No.
Is it Terrifier 2?
It's Terrifier 2.
I got it. Yay.
I loved the first one. Okay. The first one kind of came out of nowhere.
Okay.
And I thought this is a tight little weird slasher, cool character, excellent kills.
Yeah.
And I thought this is good. It's got the Halloween vibe, right? It takes place at Halloween. And then I got Terrifier 2 after hearing all this crap about it. And I watched it. I was so like, I'm not going to say it's a bad movie, but I was like, dude, this movie stays around.
Yeah, it's a
45 minutes too long. Like, this is way too much for me. And I couldn't believe how many people were hyping this thing up. And like, you'd go to Days of the Dead and there'd be 22 cast members there.
Oh, yeah. No, you know? The cast response for that film is crazy. I've heard people talk about like, if you go, like, I've heard people that work conventions saying that if you worked a convention that summer and the Terrifier people were there, that no one was going to come to your table because everybody's there waiting in line for the Terrifier people. It's pretty wild. There was massive response to the film. Yeah.
It's cool because I think anything that sort of brings more people into the fold.
Right.
And we're talking about both of those movies are like really graphic. Like we're not talking about, I mean, you got Final Chapter on your shirt. Great movie. Classic. Stone cold classic.
But it's maybe 10% as graphic as Terrifier 2.
Maybe. I mean, that scene, the bed scene in 2 with the just pulling things off of this person, like, I mean, normal people And I use the term normies for people that aren't just like that don't have creep show and all these things behind their head. People that don't just live in this world
Right.
that like we do. You know, like normies don't typically get into these really gory movies like that.
Oh.
So it's cool that it brought people in, but I was also like, this is sort of not for me because it's just turning to, I don't know, it got weird. Turned
Yeah.
into a superhero movie at some point.
Yeah. It definitely has those like fantastical elements to it, mostly the third act.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
and I liked all the actors in it,
Yeah.
and I think it's cool. Look, the fact that people are going to cons and like Damien Leone is going to cons and meeting Felissa Rose and
Yeah.
Tamara Glenn and all these people and putting them in his movies, I think is cool.
Yeah.
Because people got to eat.
Yeah.
And it's also when you're looking at the IMDb and you see that like Michael Berryman is in something or Daniel Roebuck is in the third one. Daniel Roebuck, by the way, one of the coolest. He is a genuine monster kid. Like
Okay.
I met him at and he's been in everything, right? Like
Yeah.
he was in Matlock. I mean, he was in all the Rob Zombie stuff, or not all of it, but most of the Rob Zombie stuff.
The Munsters movie. I thought that was pretty fun.
It was fun. I think he was by far the best part.
I think that's fair.
It was fun. I'll tell you what that movie feels like to me. And I'm on a tangent now. Sorry.
Yeah. Get your rant in.
That movie to me feels like Rob Zombie was going to do webisodes. Like he was going to do 5 or 10 minute shorts
Yeah.
and release them, sequentially or just. But then they were like, let's just cram this into an hour and 40-minute movie or whatever, because the transitions to me feel so weird and abrupt and kind of fever dreamy.
And whether it was intentional or not, I think some of that is because he's trying to like mimic the style of old television because it was always a show, So it's like maybe that like intentionally trying to imitate television and film felt clunky to you.
I think that might be it. Yeah. We watched. I mean, it was fine. It was something we could watch with the kids, and it wasn't. It's goofy fun. He has made far worse movies than that.
That is fair.
Okay. I don't want to shit on Rob Zombie. I actually like I think House of a Thousand Corpses is like chef's kiss.
It'd be cool to see the uncut version of that. I don't think it even exists anymore, though.
All these uncut versions of these films that exist somewhere in some vault or trash can or something. It's
maybe
kind of depressing.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Think about all of the time spent on that. It just reminds me of like those issues with like Acme versus Coyote or the Batgirl movie or all these things that like these companies are making these movies and then they're like, wait, the movie's not very good and we have to pay double the cost of making the movie to market it. We're just going to make this a tax write-off and never release it. And it's like, I hear sometimes the movies are good. It's like, that's awful. That's like probably 3 years of like hundreds of people's lives that now they have nothing to show for it, nothing on their resume for it. They never even get to watch it themselves. It's just terrible.
Well, it's like, I mean, I don't know. I'm just making this ratio up in my head, but for every 10 movies you and I get to see, there's probably one loss. It's probably a more positive ratio than that, but
right. Yeah, it probably is. But it's just to think about it even being an issue is such a bummer.
Yeah. I mean,
like also you got to consider all the other movies that just don't get finished or, have all kinds of pre-production money in it and they never start shooting it, etc.
Dixie's still here. Hey, Dixie. It's the worst when stuff doesn't get released. Yes. At least put it out for free. Like just put it somewhere. I mean, it's like one of the questions in the question bank is like, how do you feel about bootlegging out of print movies? And like almost some people didn't agree with it, but almost everybody said, I think people should be paid for their art, but it's better for people to see it and someone not get paid than it is for it to just be lost to time.
Yeah, it's like when a big company makes a movie inaccessible, I don't care. I'll go find that online if I want to watch it, you know. But it's like I saw somebody say if that it should just kind of become a law that if you tax write off an entire finished movie like that, that it has to become public domain. And I was like, that makes sense legally.
Free screenings at FrankenCon. Bring more public domain movies.
Right. They're all just modern movies now, though.
The 40-year-old version is public domain. I can't believe this.
It's only you all playing the Batgirl movie.
Okay. I don't typically use this term.
Yeah.
But some friends of ours do a show called The Horror Sanctum. Okay. And they asked a question I actually enjoyed answering. What do you think is an incredibly overrated horror film?
Interesting. You got me on the hot seat here. I try to keep my opinions
positive.
More or less. But
this is going on the Patreon, so you don't have to.
I was already on another podcast where this particular film was brought up, and I'm not a big fan of Skinamarink. It didn't hit for me. I was bummed, and we'll leave it at that.
That was the first answer I gave them. And then I sat on it for a while and I said, can I give one more? And they said, sure. And I said, Terrifier 2. And one of them got mad at me and the other guys were like, yeah, it's way too long. Like,
funny. I saw someone put Human Centipede in the comments. I would say that's an interesting one. I've not seen that in so long. I'd have to revisit it. And not that the third Human Centipede is overrated, because I don't know that it's well rated at all, but I couldn't get through that one.
I didn't watch the third one. I watched 1 and 2.
It's quite a different film.
Is it did you have trouble watching it because it's just so graphic or like gross, or is it
very, very campy in a way that I didn't enjoy?
Because he's in the movie, right? Like Tom Six is in the movie, like
I think so,
as himself or something. And
I didn't get very far into it.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. So the first one, I think, is a really cool movie.
Yeah,
and I think they were. I don't think it's that. I mean, the idea of sewing your mouth to someone's butt, the idea is gross, but in the movie, really, graphically speaking, there's nothing really happening. Like. It's almost like
the infections and stuff that were like that's what got me more so.
It's gross, but like watching like Takashi Miike films or something, or like
Ichi the Killer or something.
Yeah, like that's to me like significantly harder to watch.
Right.
But
not to talk negatively about the Human Centipede movies or anything, but like the way that you approach trying to make someone uncomfortable with stuff like that. It's like there's so many different ways to approach it, and like so many different ways to shoot it and edit it and pace it and like light it. And it's like sometimes, you know, the content of one scene is much more disgusting than the content of another scene. But the way that it was shot is just so disturbing. Like, you know, it's like maybe somebody's just like biting their nails and it's really gross, or they're just eating some nasty food and it's just really gross. But like it's somehow more gross than someone being sewn butt to mouth with someone else, you know.
I think that stuff bothers me worse, seeing people eat and like not wash their hands and stuff. And the camera work is always really zooms in on the like dirt and grime between their fingernails and stuff. Like that always bothers me. But that movie, the first one, I think was, I think it's entertaining for one thing. Like my wife got me a birthday cake from, you know, the cookie place at the mall.
Yeah.
The cookie cake. She asked them to draw the Human Centipede and like Dieter Laser pointing in the air, and they wrote "feed her," you know, like he's like "feed her," you know. So they made that cookie cake for me, and like I went to pick it up, and they're like, "What the hell is this?" Like,
that's great.
I don't know. But that movie like bothered a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing with this. The violence movie, whatever it's called. Same thing with Terrifier 2. It's like this sort of somebody got this buzz going around that this is the nastiest thing you'll ever see, and people may not be big horror fans, but everybody wants to see something they've never seen or test themselves in a way that's like, we used to look at rotten.com or something like that when the internet was new.
Right.
I can't stand that kind of stuff now. Like I don't want to see real death or
Right.
I don't want to see it. But back then it was like, oh, it's so shocking.
I mean, shock brings people to the theaters. It's like we saw that with the Terrifier 2 turnouts. I mean, financially, that theatrical run was insane.
Yeah. And it got 22 people in a cast to go to horror cons. That's
wild.
That is wild. I could not make that investment in one franchise. Like
next year, it's just Terrifier people. That's all you get.
You get 2 of them. That's all we get.
It's Terrifier Con.
I did meet from the first one. Oh my God, Catherine Corcoran. She's also in Return to Nukem High.
Okay.
She's the one that gets
the friend.
Yeah,
not the main lady, but her friend.
Yes.
Designer. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Wishbone. Yeah.
I've seen Bone Tomahawk.
I watched it way after I watched Terrifier. I watched it. This is actually cool. We rented a cabin up in Blue Ridge, Georgia. Beautiful cabins.
Cool.
If you get nice ones, some of them have like movie theaters in them. Not like real movie theater, but like the seating could be like kind of raised up.
Yeah.
And I had some time where I just snuck off by myself and ended up hooking up my laptop and watching Bone Tomahawk in that movie theater room. And it was, what a cool movie, dude.
For sure. But they have a similar, like, someone getting split in half sequence, if you recall.
People spoiled that.
Yeah.
I didn't get shocked by it because I knew it was going to happen at some point. And I was like,
it's still so shocking, though.
I guess so. I don't know. Something about it's a guy in that too, right?
Yeah. It's like Kurt Russell's companion.
Right. Something about this.
The back and forth sawing
on a girl feels, I'm not trying to be like sexist, but it just feels more.
Oh, it's definitely more graphic in that sense. I think with the way that they do it in Bone Tomahawk, it all just happens so fast that like you don't really process what's going on, and it's just like so shocking to me in that sense.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. Shout out to Kurt Russell. Him taking a massive pay cut on that movie is what got them funded.
That's crazy. Well, yeah. I mean, dude, he's a legend. I mean, honestly, like,
for sure.
I could probably figure out a bad Kurt Russell movie, but
I'm sure there's one out there.
There's got to be. Oh, and Severin has the rights to Overboard. Like, when that happened, I was like, what?
Yeah, their owner joked about he was drunk and he just like submitted an offer for it and then woke up and they had accepted it. And he was like, I guess we're putting out Overboard.
That's got to be the most mainstream Severin movie. But also, if you think about like in 2024 terms, no one is putting out a movie like that. Like, incredibly problematic story.
Yeah.
We're not talking about 50 First Dates. We're talking about like someone being manipulative, not. Well, shoot. We have talked for a while, my friend.
Yeah. Great talking to you as always.
Executive Decision. Oh, wait, hold on, G. Are you saying Executive Decision is a bad movie? Isn't that the one where Steven Seagal gets ripped in half when he climbs between 2 planes? I think that happens in that movie.
I've not seen that one.
I think that's the movie. I gotta look it up.
Even if it's a bad movie now, I'll have to give it a go.
I don't remember it being bad. It's a mid-90s action flick.
Yeah.
Uh Director Stuart Bayard. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that person.
Well,
Yeah, Steven Seagal. I think. Yeah, I don't want to spoil the movie, but there is a point where I think Steven Seagal gets ripped in half, or someone does. I can't remember who it is. I think it's him though. B.D. Wong is in it. Halle Berry, Oliver Platt, J.T. Walsh. Love J.T. Walsh.
okay.
Dude, what do you find yourself? I think as someone that watches a lot of movies, like eventually you start rooting for the character actors more than these kind of like marquee. At least I do.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, definitely. I mean, scene stealers are a thing, you know?
And it's just like oh man, dude that was in all the Corman movies, Dick.
Oh, Dick Miller.
Yeah, Dick Miller.
Yeah.
Like that guy. Every time I would see him, and that's what the documentary about him is called too. I think it's that guy, Dick Miller.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, he's a showstopper. There's also, what's his name? Bud something, that's like in everything and all kinds of like John Carpenter movies, plays in Village of the Damned. He plays like the janitor at the school. Man, why can't I remember his name right now? But yeah, it's just like those guys and gals, but it was a lot of guys that would just take these like recurring character roles like over and over again, and like it didn't matter if they were there for one day or not, you know?
Yeah, I know. I can see the guy in my head. I cannot remember his last name. For some reason I thought Bud Flower.
Flowers. That's what.
Look, that's it. But yeah. Okay, G's got one more here. What do we got? When Dylan analyzes movies like Carrie or Firestarter, does he see them as twists on teenage coming of age movies with raging hormones like American Pie or My Girl?
Oh, interesting. So,
And that's two Stephen King stories.
Yeah, I think that's tough to say because with them both being adaptations of Stephen King books, it's like I don't know how much of a twist that could have been coming from the filmmakers themselves, or whether like, Stephen was inspired by those sorts of things. And with I can't remember when My Girl came out. I haven't seen that since I was a kid, but with American Pie coming out later and stuff, it's like I guess you're just kind of talking about like those general ideas and themes. And I think like overall, I think everything that you're talking about is just kind of encompassed in this general coming of age and like, finding yourself, whether some of these movies are finding yourself through your sexuality, but some of these movies are about finding yourself through your supernatural powers. But I think that there's some people who have talked about supernatural powers in coming of age things being representative of a metaphorical sexual awakening. Especially with movies like Jennifer's Body or something like that. So yeah, interesting question. I think I could definitely see it having gone either way, and that would be in these movies particularly something you'd have to ask Steve King about. But yeah, I could definitely see it conceptually.
I think of American Pie as just I mean it's a sex comedy, right? Like it's Porky's, it's
it was just that for the new generation, really.
Yeah, with instead of I don't even know what I can't even remember what music's in Porky's, but you got Blink 182 and
right.
American
all
Pie.
the modern, fun pop culture kind of stuff going on at the time, lensed through all of that.
We've still got movies like that too. I mean, like
what was the one with Jennifer Lawrence from a year or two ago? I'll have to look that up because I remember I didn't love the comedic aspects of it, but I thought dramatically it was such a good movie.
The one where the parents pay her to deflower their child or something.
Essentially, yes. What was it called? Here it is. No Hard Feelings. I think it's on Netflix, but yeah, I just remember there being like a musical performance that was really gripping, and like some of the dramatic coming of age stuff with the kid, and like some of the stuff he expresses, and just like the general themes of friendship more so than like the sexuality of it were like really gripping to me.
You know, I just thought of this because Jennifer Lawrence, but coming of age, like being manifested in your powers, X-Men,
Yeah, yeah, for
right?
sure.
Like all of the mutants like sort of start freaking out when they're teenagers.
Yeah, which is something that was explored pretty well through the movies.
I still need to watch No Hard Feelings. I haven't seen it.
I still need to see Dark Phoenix. Is that what it was called? The X-Men movie from a few years ago, where it's like about like mutants in like a facility or something being held against their will or something like that. Or maybe that was the New Mutants.
That sounds like New Mutants.
Yeah, I need to see that.
Dark Phoenix is like
That's an X-Men movie too.
it is.
Yeah, that's the last two. I haven't seen either of those.
Jean Grey's basically become like all powerful and just decides it's probably a good idea to wipe out humans because they're trying to kill all the mutants.
No.
I don't think I've seen Dark Phoenix either. I watched the one before it, Apocalypse.
Yeah. I actually saw Apocalypse at the drive-in, I think.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a fun movie.
What about Mother?
Oh yeah, Mother's Wild. Yeah, that very biblical film, very metaphorical film. I've only seen it that once. It's a kind of a heavy movie, a very artsy film. I really enjoyed it though. The performances were great from both her and from Bardem. Just really enjoyed that movie. Yeah, I'll have to revisit it one of these days. And shout out to Aronofsky. The Whale was great too. I don't know if you got a chance to see that.
I haven't. I need to. I'm there's certain movies I want to watch, but like I have to be in the right headspace. Like I haven't watched The Iron Claw yet because I know that's gonna mess me up.
Incredible movie. Yeah.
I bought it. Like I straight up bought the Blu-ray and I just haven't watched it yet because I haven't been like, I'm ready for a bummer.
Yeah, and I would say after it, check out the Dark Side of the Ring episode about them. It's in season one of the first few episodes, and it's on Hulu right now. But it's a cool way to kind of look a little deeper into their lives after watching the movie.
I have seen that. Yeah. I'm up through season 3. I was buying seasons of Dark Side of the Ring from Amazon because I found a few on YouTube, and then all of a sudden, like I couldn't find
certain episodes or right.
So I was just like, I'll just pay, $10 a season or $20 or whatever just to watch it. Right. Such a good show.
Like, oh, incredible! I've actually been in the middle of watching The Dark Side of Comedy. There's like a few Dark Side ripoffs, the Dark Side of the 2000s, Dark Side of the 90s, etc. But the Dark Side of Comedy is made by the same team. And it's very good. It's about mostly stand-up comedians or comedians throughout the years. And it's just like that same kind of like true crime narrative kind of docu style. But also it's like, do you know the guy who made Dark Side of the Ring, who that is?
It was two guys, right?
Well, the main person that I know of is like the guy who made Hobo with a Shotgun.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he just did Kids versus Aliens a couple years ago.
Because I remember they did some kind of one of the seasons. They have the two main guys who are making the show on camera.
Oh, cool!
They're like talking about the segments.
Maybe I've not seen that one then.
I can't remember what it was or how I even got it. I mean, I just bought them through Amazon, and then I'll have to look it up and figure out what was going on. But it was cool, like listening them talk about why things happened in those dramatizations, why they did certain things was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got a weird movie suggestion, but you've probably seen it.
Okay.
We're all going to the World's Fair.
Actually, I haven't seen it, and I haven't seen I Saw the TV Glow yet either. And I have the Blu-ray of it, and I need to give it a go.
So, I don't want to say anything about it.
Okay.
But after you watch it,
okay,
go go watch some interviews with the filmmaker.
Okay.
Jill, I can't remember her last name.
Schoenbrunn?
That sounds right. Go watch. I had to go to YouTube and just look up like film festival interviews with her.
Yeah.
But it shines some light on the movie, and I think for me it made it. Not everything has to make sense, right? I like David Lynch, whatever.
Yeah, right.
But like sometimes you watch something and you're like, I really want to know why you did that.
Yeah, it just kind of adds some perspective.
That helped me a lot. It's a really interesting movie.
Cool. Yeah, I've heard good things. I've got some friends that are really big fans of it.
It's yeah. I want to know what you think of it after you watch it.
Cool. I'll message you. I mean, I've got it at home, so I'll have to give it a go here soon.
All right. Well, Dylan, I've kept you for a while, so I think we'll sign off here. But I do want to encourage everybody, go check out Dylan's stuff. Stolen Thunder Pictures, Dylan A. Young on Instagram. Either one of those, or follow them both. Just I'm telling you, follow them both. And watch for what he comes out with next. Go check out his shorts. You will enjoy them. You'll find something in there, even the heavy stuff. So I appreciate you being here, dude.
Oh, anytime, man. Thanks for having me again. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for helping me set my lights situation up
It ended up being pretty good. It worked out.
It's not bad. My forehead is still a little shiny, but
yeah.
My makeup artist took the day off, so
that happens sometimes.
Oh, we got one more praise for you. Nevermore Dark. That's one of our favorite vendors that comes to FrankenCon.
Hell yeah. Gotten a mini candle or candle wax from Evermore Dark. Great stuff.
I'm going to have to. It's crazy. We've had 3 years of our con, and I know they've done like Scarefest and stuff like that, and I've never made it to the table and gotten anything.
We're still using wax melts that I got from them at FrankenCon 2022. Or 2023 actually.
So that would be Bride of FrankenCon.
For a year now, yeah. We've been using those. They're really nice. I got a new candle this year too.
I meant to go get a Frankenstein one because
the Frankenstein glass candles.
I just didn't make it over there. Man, that happens every year. There's
some online and they're local to you too.
Yeah. Well, I'm not there. I'm in Georgia.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I'm just south of Chattanooga.
Okay.
So I'll I'm gonna have to come up there. Next time I'm up there, I'll have to arrange a meet.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, buddy. Well, we will have you back on anytime, honestly. And I wish you the best of luck out there in Nash Vegas and
thanks, sir.
In your travels. I know you're going to do great things.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. It's going to be a new episode every 2 weeks. I cannot do this weekly. I just can't. Sorry. Every 2 weeks we'll have a new episode with a new guest. And Dylan mentioned early DeAndre. I still have not forgotten about him. I need to reach out and set up an episode with him.
It's good timing now because the short will be coming out soon too.
I need to get him on here because he was going to be like the relaunch.
Oh, okay, right on.
Last time. But the next episode, if you guys are familiar with the film, oh man, it just left my head. Slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Bradley Fowler will be on here. He reached out after the con. Nice guy. Did you get to talk to him?
Yeah, he came and talked to me at my table for a bit, and then we've been messaging on Messenger some because he's kind of in between me and Nashville, so works out well. I'm always kind of passing through there.
Yeah, he's a good dude. So we'll have him on here to talk about mass murdering sloths and.
Well, I might have to go turn that on because I still haven't gotten a chance to check it out. So that might be my movie for the night.
I haven't either.
Oh, you better do it in the next 2 weeks then.
I will watch it before he comes on here.
Don't want to be an uninformed interviewer.
Well, I'm about to go to the beach. Maybe that'll be our late night movie at the beach house.
Nice. That'll be fun.
I think my mom would get a kick out of it.
I'm sure it's a goofy good time.
All right, everybody. Have a good night. And as always, stay spooky, my dudes.